Well, hello everyone, and welcome to a little bit of a post-concert Q&A here. I'm going to go ahead and bring in some of my colleagues here who had a wonderful performance. So let's bring them all in. We got Lauren, Steven, Lisa. Man, it's been a while, you guys.
Good to see you.
That's here. Hey.
You.
All right. Let's see. Let's get rid of that funny background. And there we go. That looks a little nicer. All right. Wonderful. Well, I mean, first of all, thanks everyone who joined us this evening, and thanks to all of you for all the work you've done over the last years in this incredible program, but especially kind of going through the extra effort to be able to have that be presented today. I think it was just a wonderful thing to be able to share with people. I get asked so much about this program, and if I don't get asked, I'm usually talking about it because it is so special and so unique, and I think really represents the best of what the Eugene Symphony does as far as, something really new, innovative, but really making sure that we're connecting with people's needs in our community. So I thought, I'll throw some questions around, but for everyone who's watching, we are live. I can see the stream on YouTube and Facebook. So if you have any questions, please just write in the chat box, say hello, let us know your thoughts or comments, and any questions that you have, I will pass them on to the group about Symphony Connect and just what an amazing ride this has all been. So I thought maybe we could just kind of start at the beginning, be curious for each one of you, maybe kind of like your first impressions of being a part of this program. Obviously, the thing missing from this evening was getting to see the reaction and being able to experience it, with a group of people. And I know the times that I've gotten to see your work, that's part of the incredible experience, is seeing the effect this music is having on people that need that sense of connection. And so really curious to kind of maybe you could start about talk about like your beginnings in this program and how it felt, maybe your first couple performances, and maybe how it's developed and how it's changed to the work that you're doing today. So maybe Lisa, I can start with you, and it's good to see you, Lisa.
You too. Good to see you. Yeah, the program has grown. Some of our partner sites we have been visiting each year, so that's really a nice partnership where we kind of grow with our audiences. But the first year, everyone was new, and it was really nice to bring our string quartet, which is such a different experience than when we have the full symphony, bring that intimate group to an intimate space. Hi, Dale.
Hi. Hey, Dale.
To an intimate space in these partner sites and get to meet people one-on-one. And like we spoke in between each piece in the concert tonight, we did that in our concerts live. And so it's great just meeting people and then seeing how those relationships grow over time.
That's wonderful. What about you, Stephen?
Yeah, I agree with a lot of Lisa's comments that it's really great to be able to go back to sites and see some familiar faces. It's really great to see the young ones at our shows who really sort of are so uninhibited. They dance, they play, and they color, and they just have a great time. And I think along the way that the members of the quartet have really sort of learned a different way of engaging with our audiences. I think that we don't always get to do when we're in the concert hall. And it really does sort of deepen the meaning of performing music and playing music and just participating in those intimate settings with our audience members, so we can engage in a wide variety of conversations, which is such a wonderful way to bridge. When you think you're going to meet a stranger, and then suddenly you're having a really wonderful conversation. So I like the growth of the program.
Yeah,
that's brought me as an individual as well.
I love you talking about kind of the feeling and sort of just, being close up and getting to really connect with people. And I think sometimes we forget that the modern concert hall is a modern experience. The vast history of Western classical music has been in people's homes. That has been how we've presented it, how we've connected over it, ever since the days of, Bach and before that. And so in many ways, what you're doing is kind of reconnecting people with how music was really traditionally experienced, which is, coming into someone's home, being in a room together, none of this like stage audience, separation. So I think there's something really special there. You're actually bringing people in many ways the most honest and close-up experience of how this music was meant to be appreciated. Lauren, curious to hear from you how it's been being a part of Symphony Connect.
Well, actually, what you just talked about is probably one of my very favorite things about it, is being so close to the audience, both just physically, but also we can talk back and forth. They ask us questions like we're doing now, which is nice. And yeah, I just really love the energy.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, we'll hope we get Lauren back on. Oh.
Just getting to the good part.
Oh, Lauren, we got you to the word energy, and then we lost you a bit.
Oh, I think I was just saying I really enjoy the energy of how casual it is. We wear what we want to notice the audience. They're right there, and it's, as you said, it's in their home, so that's really nice.
Yeah, great. And Dale, welcome. Great to have you here. We're just talking about kind of first impressions when you started with the Symphony Connect program, and maybe how it's changed for you over the time you've been doing it.
Well, I don't know. I guess, one of the things that I really like probably the most is just going to the partner sites time and time again. And so we see some of the same people, or some of those people will invite their friends, and that's really cool. And every now and then I happen to see somebody there who I had known previously through some association or another, and just that a repeated connection where we can offer the program not just as a one-time outreach, but just on an ongoing basis. I think that's a really awesome program.
Yeah, and of course, what people don't get to see is kind of the trajectory of the different programs that you do. I think it's really wonderful as you return to the same places that you explore different ideas, completely different composers, and people get to have a different experience and get to interact with the music in a different way each time. I'm really so happy we have our music therapist with us. Ted, thanks so much for joining us and the work that you've done to be a part of this program. Curious, not only to hear about your experience in Symphony Connect, but maybe you can also kind of launch us into a broader conversation of, what are kind of the thematic ideas of what we're trying to achieve through this program, and maybe how you've helped us kind of meet some of those goals.
Oh, well, thank you, Francesco. It's just a gas to be, connected at all with this particular group of people. We have a lot of fun, and just being present with the idea of being relaxed and sharing the gift of music with others is a very powerful thing. Now, from a music therapy perspective, what we try to do is actually see if we can't not just have the audience view and have a passive response, but actually see if we can't get them to engage in some sort of activity. And that's a beautiful thing, to be able to have people literally play along with the group. We have several tunes that we do on each program. We had the Journey this time, or the Journey piece, and then we had the Space Oddity, David Bowie, where we like to encourage, and almost I kind of tend to facilitate. It's hard not to participate in some of our gatherings. And so for us, there's a potential for healing and just joyful connection by just sharing the going through the music, being part of the music. It's like playing in the band, so to speak. And people get a lot from that when we can do that. It's a way to connect. So yeah, I could go on for days about music therapy, so I'm going to cut it there.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe it wouldn't hurt actually to dig in just a little bit and maybe tell us a little bit about the field and how it kind of connects with us. I mean, I love this project also just because we're really integrating the two ideas. I remember the very early days of kind of music therapy when I was a young musician, and I got involved with a group that was going to hospitals in the area where I was growing up. And I had, no idea. I was focused solely on my, playing Beethoven better than anybody else. But I think my parents thought maybe I was getting a bit too competitive, and they're like, this is going to be good for you to get out there and really make music for people who need it. And it did. It had a tremendous impact on me, even though I didn't quite realize what was going on in the moment because I was just playing the things I was practicing for people. But so maybe you could talk a little more about what the goals are of music therapy and how that kind of ties into this.
Well, that's a great question. And I would like to just refer to one of the kind of big principles of music therapy, and that is that everybody has some kind of a musical identity. If you listen to music at all, you have a connection to music. And so what we try to do is reach people. This could be veterans, this could be folks in memory care, through their own personal connection to music. And that's really where the spark comes when we do music therapy, because we just can watch. We may have a tune, say, "My Bonnie Lies Over the Ocean," something like that, and it may be the song that a grandfather sung to his granddaughter at a time that was very important to the entire family. So for that individual to hear that song again may bring deep meaning just through that particular experience of sharing the idea of that music. And so if we take the idea that we all have this musical identity, we can kind of leap from that into where do we connect? Where do we connect? Musical identity can be defined as, and Stephen was referring to this earlier with this event where he went to see a Journey concert, where he went to that he'll always know that when he hears that tune, he'll think of that particular concert. Okay, so that's a milestone of sorts. It's part of his musical identity. A dubious one, but nonetheless, it is part of this musical identity. And so we all have these events in our lives that line up with particular pieces of music. And so we can explore that and kind of basically do a little bit of, I guess we call it reminiscence with people and be able to kind of just check in on what they really know. At the events that we've had for Symphony Connect, we will ask people, how many people know this piece? And then often we'll ask them, okay, so what do you like best about that music? Someone just, what do you like best? And they'll express some things that there's no way we could imagine what that might be. And so that's part of the joy of what we get to do as music therapists. Yeah. And that's just a little bit.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. I mean, so succinct. I love it. I got to go back and watch this. So I now have a perfect paragraph on how to describe your work. That's really great. Let's have a go around, and I think it'd be really fun to just hear about your favorite, story, memory, maybe a piece that you like on the program. What's like one particular thing that sticks out from you from the Symphony Connect program? Just any sort of memory or something that is your favorite aspect of it. We'll start again with you, Lisa.
That's hard. I think it's like the collective feeling that I am meeting new people, but there's this shared humanity. But a moment came to mind. We play at Looking Glass High School, and I think that's a great age range to really try to reach out to. And so there's a lot of connection we try to make there, which is a little different from, like Stephen was mentioning, the little kids dancing around or older people who have heard our songs. So we really try to reach out. And I remember after our first visit there, one of the high school students who was sitting in the back kind of to themselves came out and talked to us afterwards and really struck up a conversation. And it was really meaningful to know that we brought something, like it really was meaningful to this kid. So.
That's awesome. I love that. What about you, Stephen? What sticks out to you?
A lot of good memories, as Lisa was mentioning. I think two. One is, I remember one of the partner sites we were playing at out in Junction City. I think our first visit there, I think there were more people performing than there were actually listening. But the word got out. I think when we went up there again, a lot more people showed up, and it was really kind of nice that when we were there, people were they were singing along, they were engaging in conversation. Sometimes while we were playing, but it was very, very informal and really just a really friendly atmosphere. And I think as a performer, it's a nice, wonderful sort of unexpected thing that happened where we were just having a great time. Another one, I think we did a site at Springfield, and it was kind of a technical disaster on our part. We had people show up late and forgot some music, but we just improvised our whole presence there. And Ted started singing, Lauren and I were playing different tunes, Dale started improvising, and we just got the kids and the parents to engage and dance and just sort of feel happy and comfortable in the space. And so it was sort of just this event that happened that was unplanned, but it was a nice spontaneous moment that I think just brought a lot of joy to everyone that was there.
That's a great story. Wow. I mean, it's really nice that as you return to the same place again, you can build, people can build a community around it. I think that's an important aspect of this. Lauren, what about you?
Well, actually, Stephen and Lisa both touched on some of my favorite memories. So as Stephen said, sometimes, especially in our first year, the word wasn't quite out yet. People weren't sure what to expect from a concert, a quartet concert. And at some of our venues, we were able to leave the windows open as we started the concert, and more people started coming in. And so that was a really great feeling. I think it's also nice that we're performing in a setting where people can come in and out if they want. It's very casual that way. And then the other one I would say that's one of my favorite memories also comes from the high school, at the Looking Glass School. We sometimes have people draw during our shows. You can draw whatever you want. And there were a couple very, very talented artists there who came and showed us their work. And I remember one really great picture of the four of us. So that really warmed my heart just to see them.
That's great. That's great to see. And Dale, any special memories, stories?
Yeah, I also thought of the time Stephen had mentioned in, I believe it was the Relief Nursery in Springfield, where at the beginning of the gig had all the makings of a disaster, but we of course we knew going into it we weren't sure how our program was going to go over with this younger set of kids that were going to be there, and so we just got improvised and kind of did it by the seat of our pants, and it ended up great. Didn't go exactly according to program, but that's okay.
Yeah.
And another time at one of the place in Eugene, I noticed that one of the people in the audience was one of my beginning strings students from one of the schools that I teach beginning strings at. And so since there was something where we were also going to be coming back a few months later, we arranged to have her play a short little solo piece with the accompaniment of the quartet the next time we came there and played. So that was a fun thing to get to do.
That's great. That's great. We've got some questions starting to come through, especially on YouTube, which is great to see. And I think these, I'll kind of toss them out there, and as you see fit, you can jump in with some answers. But the first one is actually directly to Ted, and it's basically love the background. How many guitars do you own?
Well, I'll tell you, that's about half of them. I have them, and I can't storm anywhere except wall now. So yeah, I wish I could play them all. Yeah.
You don't play them all?
I can barely tune them all.
Texting me.
Well, we had a question. How do you choose which pieces go into each Symphony Connect concert? I think that's a great question, a great way to talk about how these programs get created. I don't know how involved each of you are, but if anyone wants to jump in with some thoughts on how you start to build these programs, I would love to know as well.
Okay. Well, I'll
okay, Ted, yeah, you go.
It's fine. What we try to do is remember that where the sites we're going are, we're approaching it from like a client-centered point of view. So we will basically put together a repertoire of tunes that we can do, okay? And we'll choose those tunes and the sequence as best fits that particular site. And so the actual process of choosing the tunes, I'll leave that to someone else. But that's the strategy that we use.
So how do we come up with that short list of tunes then?
Okay. So we go with how many movements do we know that are 3 minutes or less? No, that's not. That's it does present a problem because we try to tailor them to 5 to 7 minutes each, or less, actually, just so we can keep it moving, keep it interesting. And so I'm going to defer to Stephen on this one because he knows more about this than I do.
It's always an exciting process, I'm sure. I'm just glad we have Ted there to advise us on so many things, because it really pulls us out of the performance bubble. I think as performers, our mindset is typically different. So Ted really constantly reminds us as to what we're doing and how we're engaging in the audience in a broader, I think, spectrum than we're used to. And so sometimes we pull tunes that are some of our favorites. Sometimes there are songs that we know that have meaning to us, so we want to share that with our audience. And then we try to find something that's a movement with a lot of rhythm or dance aspects to it. And then perhaps we try to present something that they may not have heard before. And then we try to search for good arrangements for popular tunes. And luckily we have a resident composer and arranger in our quartet. So we're so fortunate that we get to showcase some really new material and perhaps an arrangement that nobody's really heard of. So we really do have a great selection of options, I guess, for picking repertoire.
Yeah. I mean, the variety is wonderful. And it's really nice that, and I think it's important that you humanize the composers, the major composers of our canon, talking about Tchaikovsky and Beethoven, and kind of bringing them down to earth, not like these gods, but people who struggled and suffered, and music was kind of their outlet. I like how all that gets tied in. And so I would imagine for you guys, knowing this repertoire so well, it must be fun to also kind of approach it from that angle as well.
For sure. And try to make connections that our audiences will appreciate.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's something that, again, it's bridging these gaps and not saying like music has to be presented a certain way, but in fact, it's more powerful when we let it be influenced by a lot of different things. And I think this down to earth way of presenting it and not putting lines between classical music and popular music and just, it's artists who are expressing themselves. It is an important part of what makes this program really successful, I think, as well. So great to see that from all of you. There's one question, is Symphony Connect generally always with you 4 players, or does each performance vary among our musicians? I believe it's mostly the 4 of you that have been a part of this program. Is that right?
Yes.
Yep. For the whole time.
Yeah, and I know there's been some discussions, in many ways, relatively speaking, this is in its early days. I think, what are we, 3 seasons in, 3 or 4 seasons in on this program. So, hopefully as it continues to, garner support and build more connections with the community, we can continue to grow it. And quite frankly, now having this video archive, this beautiful video archive of the power behind this performance, I think is going to be wonderful. And the fact that, yes, we're missing that in one room together experience, but what we were able to do tonight was put something out there with, absolutely no barriers for people to come and join and be a part of this musical experience. And I think that will kind of grow its own roots as we move forward. So I want to thank you all so much for not only, taking the time to make this wonderful performance come together. I know, the circumstances are not ideal under any circumstances, but, you really, it came off so beautifully and really powerfully. So thank you for taking the time to do that. Also for taking the time to chat a little bit. I miss seeing you all very much in person, but looking forward to making some music soon. It looks like in the coming months, and having another set of wonderful virtual performances. So for everyone watching, thank you so much. Stay tuned. We've got some great performances each month coming up where we're going to bring more and more musicians together on stage at the Holt Center and put together some great performances that you can enjoy at home. So the 5 of you, thank you so much. Really hope I'll be able to see you together in person, and all best wishes.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.